We are back for another week, and boy, do we have a surprise for you. Stick around.
And that's the bottom line. You want a war? You're gonna get one.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
Good evening, everyone. You know, I just don't see any reason not to just jump right in because we have a very, very welcome surprise tonight on the show. So, without further ado, let's bring on a few of the boys. Brett, what's up, bud?
What's going on? Another day in paradise.
Peace and chicken grease from Alabama, right?
You know, baby.
Let's bring on Chad.
What's up,
my
boys?
man?
I'm here.
Bear down.
Bear down.
That's right.
More-
For another week,
more-
right?
More internet issues, but I'm fighting through it, boys.
I mean, you would think, you know, we don't live in the sticks in Iowa. I mean, we have internet. Like, come on, Chad, get it right.
I
mean,
don't know what's going on there.
let's bring in KJ from the great state of Tennessee.
Good evening,
Got
gentlemen.
did Houston have a good week, KJ?
No, I was gonna enter the video like this, basically with the press. But,
Well, you're all decked out. I thought maybe they had a good week.
hey,
except
it's a new day. What is in the past is in the past. We're like a phoenix. We're gonna rise from the ashes, and all will be well this weekend. So,
it's called being a fan.
that's true.
So-
And if
so-
anybody,
So
go ahead, Chad.
Go ahead, Chad.
So
Do your
the,
little
so the,
shameless
so the
dance.
the big surprise for this week is that KJ is now playing a cop in a bad '70s porno.
Hey, if you
It,
can't,
looks great. I can't grow a mustache like that. That's fantastic. I'm just jealous.
Hey, I love Super
That's
Troopers.
what
Just saying.
No,
You know,
fantastic, and I'm not mocking you. I'm being serious. I wish I
While,
could.
while I am wearing the hat, I do feel
cannot.
like this is more of the Burt Reynolds vibe, Brett. But I get what you're saying. So
the thing about it is my dad has had a mustache my entire life. He's not a big beard guy like I am. He says it itches, you know, he just can't stand it. But, you know, so I've never really thought anything different, whatever. But the only guys that should just have mustaches are the ones that have just like the really full, like you got to have hedge clippers to trim it up type of thing. If you don't have one of those mustaches, you should
Yep.
not have just a mustache.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You know,
I
and
agree. That's why I
clearly,
can't do it.
clearly, KJ is one of those that wow, that thing is
Yeah,
rocking.
When
Sweet daddy.
when he walks in the bedroom tonight, KJ, tough me and stuff me.
If only it were that
Yeah.
simple, Chad. If only.
Well, guys, I think we all know. Okay, we have quite a few people on already. We have a big surprise for everybody. And I'm just going to flash this up there before I bring them on. There it is. Big Daddy Ed is back, ladies and gentlemen.
It's back in the flesh, man. In the flesh. It's been a while. In fact, I had to button my shirt up a little bit higher so you guys couldn't see the big scar going down the chest now.
Battle wound. Battle wound.
Battle wound. Battle wound.
You didn't get to. Did you see that, Ed? I had that nice and created for you. I mean, it is a striking likeness.
That is
to you.
right on because I have the 2020 jersey, man.
All he needs.
And I got the wraparound shades. The only thing I'm missing.
It's that wig.
Well,
yeah.
I even got the wig, man. I should go get it.
I
Man, I got
the red shorts.
If you need a
The
short
red
hair,
short, you should have seen him, Chad, that day at the tailgate. He was on point with this, man. I mean, he's got the Air Jordans, he's got the red shorts, he's got the flowing wig on. I mean, he was rocking it.
Only thing I'm missing is the cigar, baby.
I thought you'd enjoy that. We're gonna keep that just for posterity. But yeah, so Big Daddy Ed is back on the show. So we're gonna divide it up here just a little bit, so you don't have to look at our 5 ugly faces all at once. But to start off, we are going to have just a quick little UFL update by Brett.
What's up, peeps? It's been a while since we talked in the UFL. Some rumors, some speculation going on, and oh my goodness, I can't read that. As a lot of people
got it all in your head anyway, don't you?
God, I need like 2005 vision. Let me get that was my bad, by the way. I'm sure our listeners can see it, and they've probably already seen it. James Larson and Mike Mitchell posted some information, I believe, this Monday. James originally posted it, and Mike followed up with some stuff. You know, they're trying to do kind of a centralized deal, a regional draft moving forward. They want more local players from their local markets, which should definitely help with attendance. That's something I've mentioned since 2019 with the AAF. Another couple of speculations and rumors that we've heard, and I've done some digging over the last day and a half. Where's Moose Johnson? You check out that title on there. Russ Brandon now has Moose Johnson's old job title. I have not seen nor heard anything out of Moose. He disappeared in July when he was supposed to come on Mark and Hubert to address the Birmingham Stallions rumor. Well, that was canceled. Then Rapoli was supposed to come on the next day, did not, but they got together and you know, the rest is history. The Stallions are back and all that good stuff. I've seen one post from Moose since then. It was like August 3rd. Rumor is Moose might not be with the league anymore, or he's definitely not got the same job title. I would imagine as valuable person as Moose is and was to the USFL and to Fox, that they would probably find another role for him, but keep an eye out for that. Nothing has been confirmed yet. It's all, once again, speculation. Everything's fluid, on and on and on. They're supposedly meeting quite a bit this month. We should get some news by the end of Thanksgiving on the coaching staffs. I'm hearing, of course, that the schedules won't be released till January. Again, hopefully in 2 years, the little Panthers will be back, Michigan Panthers. But what else? Rumor has it that Fox might not be nearly as involved as they used to be. We all know Rapoli bought. Obviously, the rumor is he bought the league. That's what's being said by the gentleman from Barroom Sports or Barstool Sports that he's buddies with. I don't know how much of a stake Mike has got in the league right now, but from what I gather from the people I've talked to in the last 2 days, he is swinging the big sword. Him and his company that are located in Orlando are running things. They're doing the marketing, the business end, the promotions, on and on and on. I've talked to a couple reps from some teams. They're very excited about what they're seeing and what they plan on seeing between now and kickoff. They said it's totally different than what it's been the last 2 years, which gives us all hope that we can get those stands filled and that the ratings will increase even more. I don't know 100% if what involvement Fox still has with the league, but they are no longer handling the day-to-day. That is Mike Rapoli. I do understand they're still going to be handling some of the broadcasting along with ABC and ESPN. Makes me wonder if we're actually going to get onto the ESPN app this upcoming season with the UFL. I was told to watch out for that. But yeah, a lot of volatility, a lot of things are changing, but there's going to be a lot of excitement starting around Thanksgiving. So be on the lookout. And that is our UFL update.
Looks like Eric and I are kind of fighting on bringing guys in. Here we go. Now we got it back. So I read today a post that said that the UFL will be looking by Thanksgiving to have the 8 head coaches announced.
Correct.
Right.
And did you see, Brett, too, the responsibilities of eliminating the general managers is going to give the head coaches more of a year-round responsibility, and it sounds like they want the coaches to be a year-round employee.
They're going to be year-round employees again. Thankfully, they're going to have a lot of involvement with player signing. I'm also told again where these players are from moving forward. Like if they've got a pool of 500 players, they're going to choose from on top of the guys that's already signed with these 8 squads. They're going to try to allocate them to their regional markets. Like if you got an ex-Alabama guy, an ex-Auburn guy, ex-UAB guy, they're going to try to shift him to Birmingham. But ultimately that call's going, supposedly the final call is going to be the head coaches. But that's what they're going to try to do, again, is get more local bodies in these markets, and which will tremendously help attendance. I remember when AJ came home in Birmingham, our biggest official crowd when Bo Scarborough was running the ball for us in year 2, I believe, we had 2 or 3 bigger crowds than what we had when AJ was there. Of course, the USFL didn't announce those at the time. So I think that will help in a lot of the markets. I'm seeing billboards in Arlington already, Orlando, and a couple other markets, I believe. But one of the contacts I spoke to today, which I cannot disclose who that was, they are very, very excited about what they're seeing behind the scenes. They said Mike is, like I figured 2 months ago, Mike is making these calls. He's making all the decisions. I don't know what involvement Fox has anymore, or Redbird, or Danny, or Dwayne, but whatever amount of money that Mike invested, he's handling everything and he's calling the shots. So I'm excited for it.
Well, I'm not sure how many roster spots they're allowing the teams to go ahead and fill at this point, but I will say, if you guys know of any recent signings from your teams, you can bring them up. But I know as far as the St. Louis Battlehawks are concerned, we've re-signed Pita, who was the Defensive Player of the Year last year in the league. We've also re-signed Rodrigo, who I'm just flabbergasted that he's not a kicker in the NFL this year. He missed 1 field goal last year in the whole season for the Battlehawks. and that was a ball that went off the bottom bar of the goalposts from like 55 yards. Other than that, he was perfect for the season. So really surprised at that. Then our running backs were, we got Kevon back, who he was third stringer last year, but he was a shot in the arm towards the end of the season, and he was really an effective runner for us. I know that Jacob Sailors, I seen him returning kicks for the Detroit Lions last weekend, so he's still on a roster. So we probably won't have him. But do you guys know of anybody else at any of the other teams that have re-signed that are?
This is one I'll share that I just saw from Rigger Rockers. He shared it on social media today. I think it came directly from XFL Analyst, as it shows here. But Cameron McDonald, tight end, alum to FSU. Apparently the Gamblers have picked him up, so that's exciting. I know we had a pretty good wide receiving core, I would say, from last year. But to have a tight end, I think, in the mix is definitely encouraging to see, I'd say, for Houston squad. That's the only one I've seen here recently that's been publicized or shared with folks I follow, but there's probably others.
Ed, you haven't seen the signing from today?
What was the signing of today?
The thicker kicker, baby, from the Birmingham Stallions, Missouri Tigers. The big boy with the big jelly belly and the even bigger leg signed with the Los Angeles Rams practice squad today. Just go on and put him on the team. And just put him on the team. He missed one kick last year, and it was over 60-something yards. That was the kick six game against the Memphis Showboats, if you remember. It was 63, 64 yards or something like that into the wind. And it was just came up a little short.
Well, Peta and I have gotten pretty tight too. I mean, here's a picture of him at our tailgate this last year, the championship game. Of course, I don't know that it's a good look for him to be sporting a beer, but that was the Beehawk Live beer, so that doesn't count. And then here's him signing some mini helmets we had. I think he really enjoyed that day. So hopefully they'll allow the players to be more involved with the fan bases and in the tailgates and stuff. So looking forward to a fun season. I have to get Eric down here again, see.
For sure. One comment I remember them mentioning in the news broadcast, Brett, or the postings, I forget exactly how it was worded, but I know most of the GMs obviously have been let go, but they alluded to some of them potentially being brought back. Was that for, I forgot what the connection was. It wasn't for head coaching. It was for some other position.
No, it was for other roles, and I think they said between 4 and 6 of them could end up being brought back, which is why when you look at the Birmingham Stallion situation, we had our version of Moneyball, Zachary Potter, and man, I love talking to him. And if you've ever seen the movie Moneyball with Brad Pitt, I mean, he looks like he's 16, but he would walk around with his 3 fingers up, and his championship rings on. And I know him and Skip got along big time, and we miss him. He went on to Sacramento State, but I wonder, if he would still have a role with the league, because he did such a fantastic job with Birmingham. Right. But I hate some of those guys lost their jobs. I'm very curious about Moose. Y'all know how I feel about Russ. I don't have anything against the man, but I feel like Moose brought a lot more to the table. And when it comes to player evaluations, are you gonna let Moose Johnson handle that or Russ Brandon? But again, I don't know all the decisions. I don't know what all went on. I don't know if Moose is still involved. There's quite a few people say he's not. But when it comes to player personnel, I believe I'd much rather have Moose calling a shot on that. But we did hear of some rift between Moose and Russ over the past 2 seasons since the XFL and USFL merged. So I wonder if that played a part in this decision.
Well, getting rid of general managers and making the head coaches more involved year-round leads me to believe that there might be a little bit of, where there's smoke, there's fire, and And I can honestly say that ever since Coach Beck has been with the Battlehawks, he's always done a good job of trying to post videos, come to the city, go to restaurants, have meet and greets with the fans. And this year, it's been no talk whatsoever. I haven't seen anything involving Coach Beck as the head coach of the Battlehawks. I know probably, it's probably been 3-4 weeks ago. Spurge from the X-Fan show talked over and over about the fact that, Coach Beck lives in the Orlando, Florida area. And, of course, Rocco Beck, his son, is quarterback for the Iowa State Cyclones. So it's obvious, he's involved with his son's season, so he's probably out of it. But, if they're going to ask these head coaches to be year-round and he lives in the Florida area, is he not a natural fit for the Orlando team? And, since they make the comment that they're going to sign coaches, but by Thanksgiving, it makes you wonder. So as long as they assign Gruden to St. Louis Battlehawks, I'll be happy. So
there you go. It'd be exciting to see. I think I'll say this from an olive branch kind of standpoint. I think if we're thinking optimistically to hedge people's concerns, Brett, to your point about Moose and everything, if the coaches truly are getting more flexibility or responsibility in the player selection realm, I would think that maybe Russ Brandon's role, because I know they say final say rests with him, is that it's more from a organizationally, league-wide, like keeping all teams, quote unquote, equal in the sense of if it's, number of regional guys or whatever beyond the base existing rosters. I don't know where they'll draw that line from a quantity standpoint or date, on the calendar, but I think that's maybe more what his role is as the final say, is not so much to override the coach's know-how athletically, to your point, but to maybe just make sure they keep everything apples to apples and oranges to oranges with the regional players component in the league as a whole.
Yeah. The one quick thing, and I'll shut up because I know we're running behind. The one thing I'm concerned with, and I know you two guys are as well, and I know Eric is, all of us UFL fans, there's some players on each one of our teams that we've grown attached to. Sure. Like Ed's mentioned with PETA and the Big Boy Award that he gave to another guy. Yeah, and some of our guys that we've grown attached to, because you can go out and hang out with these guys before the game, after the game at these events. It's just like us sitting here talking about football. They're down to earth. They're very appreciative of the attention we try to bring to the league. Never had a bad experience or any uncomfortable feeling with any of these players anywhere I've been.
Thanks.
And I just hope that Mike keeps the core of some of the, if they've played in St. Louis for 30 years, Birmingham for 3 years, Houston for 3 years, I hope we don't redo all the rosters, throw them in a pool and say, hey, you go here because you went to this school. Some of these guys need to stay with these teams because they've got a following. Could you imagine if Scooby was still playing for the Stallions and they moved him somewhere else? I mean, Scooby Wright was like a cult-like figure in Birmingham. And I'm sure St. Louis has some players like that in all these other cities. So I hope they keep the cores of these units together.
Okay, you long-winded guys. Jesus, we got stuff to do, man. All right. So, KJ and Ed, all I got to do is wave my hand, and you guys disappear just like that. And we're moving on, Brett, to your SEC power rankings for the week. Take it away.
It just means more, baby. Once again, A&M still at number one. I cannot wait for the A&M Texas matchup at the end of the season. Now, that is going to be must-see TV. Alabama had a bye. Georgia's still at 3. Ole Miss looking strong in playoff conversation for sure right now. Texas. This Texas team that I've seen the last 2 weeks is not the Texas team we were all making fun of the last 4 or 5 weeks. This team, the 5 stars are the cream is starting to rise to the top. they had Vanderbilt by 3 touchdowns and got a little sloppy there at the end, but you got to give Vanderbilt credit. Don't overlook Oklahoma. Another big win for Oklahoma over the weekend. Tennessee, they've got to have some things happen for them. They got to win out. They do play Vanderbilt at the end of the season. So that's where we're at. Missouri at 9, LSU 10, Florida 11. And look on the bottom here, give Kentucky some credit. Kentucky goes into a notorious environment like the Plains and Jordan Hare and beats I don't know what you call Auburn right now. I'll call them the cellar dweller, which, me being an Alabama fan, I absolutely love it. I love the fact they got rid of Hugh Freeze because Auburn was, to me, they were a quarterback away from really being a contender this season. They could very easily have 3 or 4 more wins right now. But they're in the basement. Arkansas, you could flip and twist and turn 15 and 16. Mississippi State plays extremely hard. They just don't have the roster. But again, you can shuffle, flip, twist, all these. A lot of this is going to change over the next 3 or 4 weeks, especially with the big rivalry games coming up at the end of the season. You got Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Georgia Tech, Texas A&M, Texas, and the list goes on and on. And that is our power rankings for the SEC this week.
Yeah, real quick, Brett. 1 to 8, 1 to 9. There's still some big games to be played between those teams.
Absolutely.
So I think the SEC is going to get even more fun towards the end here with about 4 games to go. All right.
And out of those 16 teams, real quick, out of those 16 teams, 25% of them right now does not have a head coach. Think about that.
That's crazy. That's going to make the SEC really interesting at the end of the year. And with the college setup and everything, how tough it is, there's a lot of things that could happen here. There's no question. So Brett and I are going to disappear. We're going to bring on Chad to do his Big Ten power rankings, and I'm going to bring Big Daddy Ed back in here.
Keep him on the straight and narrow here.
All right, boys. Really no changes from last week. There weren't any big games, no big upsets. Everybody just kind of stayed where they were. Of course, you can ignore the bottom 6 teams. They don't matter. We got Indiana still the juggernaut running up top with Ohio State, Oregon, Iowa. It pains me to have them sitting there at 4, but there they are. USC, Michigan. Michigan's hanging in there, looking better and better every week. Washington, I think it's going to be really tough going down the stretch here. The Fighting Illini, Minnesota, the disappointing Nebraska Cornhuskers. They're probably going to be falling down past this here pretty soon, the way they're playing. Northwestern, Maryland, and then all the also rans. We got some big games coming up this weekend. You've got, let me pull it up here. I want to say something incorrect. You've got Northwestern, USC going at it. Indiana and the floundering, mostly dead Penn State, Nittany Lions. I thought I pulled up the Big Ten. Sorry. You've got Ohio State taking on a terrible Purdue team. Maryland's taking on Rutgers. The big game of the week, Oregon at Iowa, which I think we're going to dig into later, so we won't really get into that much right now. Washington's playing the woeful Wisconsin Badgers, and Nebraska is going to travel out to L.A. To try and beat the all over the map UCLA Bruins. So we'll kind of see how all that works out. What do you have to think?
If they follow the format they established last year, it looks like there's going to be 4 SEC teams, and if they follow that same map, there's going to be 4 Big Ten teams. If that's the case, you've got Iowa, USC, and Michigan. Those 3 basically are fighting for that last spot. there's some big games coming up. Like we said, Chad said, Oregon at Iowa this weekend, but then the very next week,
Huge game.
Iowa goes to USC. So a lot of this is going to play itself out. Michigan's kind of the wild card. We'll see how that goes, but I fully expect that you're going to see Iowa, USC, Michigan, absent a big collapse by all three or what, that there's probably going to be a fourth team coming out of one of those three. Wouldn't you agree, Chad, or no?
Yes, I agree. We'll see what happens this weekend, and we're going to dig into the game later, but Oregon's got to come to Iowa City this weekend. I like to give them all the hell in the world, but in Kinnick, in Iowa City, they are tough. And depending on what the weather is going to be like this weekend, I don't think it's going to be great. It's going to be a little bit of a shock for the Oregon Ducks because Midwestern cold is much different than Oregon sitting on the coast cold. It's a whole nother beast. So,
yeah, and we'll get into the college playoffs too, but right now they got Memphis sitting at number 12. I got to believe that's more because the Iowa, USC, Michigan hasn't been played out yet. I'd find it hard to believe they'd put Memphis in over one of those three. If one of those three, Iowa, USC, or Michigan, finished the season with 2 losses, I would say it'd be hard-pressed that Memphis would boot one of those out. But we're going to get into all that later, so we won't waste a bunch of time on it now. So
You guys are sleeping on Washington a little bit. They're 6-2, right in there. They're
still
easily slipping.
themselves a little bit. They haven't adjusted to the Big Ten as quick as I thought they would. But if Washington becomes what they used to be, they'll be a force before long. I got to believe.
No question about that. Well,
yeah.
let's.
They do have it. They do have a tricky. Washington finishes at home with Oregon, but between now and then they got Wisconsin, Purdue, and UCLA. So they should be. It should come down to the end of the season for them.
So if Oregon's sitting at 10-1, and Washington's sitting at 9-2, and Washington wins, could catapult Washington up to the top, no matter what happens with some of these other games. All right, I'm going to wave you guys off. I'm going to bring KJ on, and we're going to take a look at the Big 12, KJ.
Yeah, a couple shifts, obviously. As I shared my distress signal at the beginning of the show, the Cougs kind of choked one hard this past weekend against West Virginia. I'd say that essentially put the nail in the coffin to our slim, albeit but possibility hopes with regards to a championship appearance this season. I'm perfectly okay with that. I think they've already superseded most faithful fans' expectations for this year. Huge rebound from last season, if you will. But beyond that, obviously with Utah getting the win they got over Cincinnati, I moved them up. Just kind of based on the remaining scheduling and things, I still have kind of Cincy sitting where they're sitting, and that's primarily because of while their overall ranking is the same, Cincy still holds the lead in overall win-loss in conference matchup standings within the conference, so they're still higher. And then I've got TCU kind of at the heels of Kansas State, primarily due to their loss to them earlier in the season. That's the only reason really that they're underneath K-State. Arizona State's kind of sitting where they're at. And obviously with Colorado's kind of back-to-back, 2 or 3 weeks now, they've lost games in a row. The Buffaloes have dropped below them. So that's kind of where everything sits now. We'll see how the rest of the season plays out. Personally, for me, I think it's still very close within the top 3 teams. They could go any way. I think this weekend's matchup with BYU and Tech obviously is going to be a big decider for clearing up a little bit more of the potential championship picture for the conference. So
you are definitely rooting. You are definitely rooting for BYU, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so. My hatred runs too deep for the tortilla throwers. It's just hard to root for them. So.
Well, they got to get Texas Tech to a 2-loss, and then put it up to the.
Like I said, we're out of the picture. I think at this point it would be far removed for everybody to lose 2+ games, and that's exactly what would have to happen for us to have any chance of getting in. So I'm kind of accepted that at this point. But personally, for me, I think I would, I think Cincy BYU would be a cool championship matchup. I've heard a lot of Utah fans on both sides of the aisle. They'd love to both see Utah and BYU in the championship. I personally would hate that because it would almost ring a post-mortem bell for the Pac-12 folks, and all of us Big 12 faithful guys always love to rag on the old Pac-12. So,
just when I'm happy, KJ, that Ed comes back on the show, he does this to me. As I saw this comment from my friend John David, I'll tell you exactly what happened, John. Injuries all over the place. Starting 2 true freshmen in the secondary, along with a sophomore, and sending 2 wide receivers to the NFL has really sidelined us. The injuries really started it, and the wide receivers, we have not been able to replace the wide receivers on the outside. So. Yeah, it's as simple as that. I mean, I'm not even that disappointed about it, simply because, those are things that happened. Same thing that happened to us last year. We were able to overcome, all the injuries we had in the linebacker core last year because our secondary stayed strong. But we just can't. You can't. When you're 3 deep, 4 deep, and you're at your corner, both your corners. You're dead in the water, especially
I think y'all can take solace in the fact that y'all can still pull out a bowl game this year. So, that's
listen, that's all we're looking at. That's all we're looking at. That's facts. I've accepted it. When you have those kind of injuries, 2 true freshmen starting, this is what it is. It's fine. Right. I can't even get that worked up about it. So, I'm going to bring on Brett for the ACC because I know he loves the ACC. So, I'll bring your ACC up here, and I'll take myself off and bring Brett on with you.
So this one was fun to look at this past week. The Seminoles decided to, wake up, I guess. I don't know what the right word would be, Brett, if you have a better corrective selection there. But they decided to pull out a win this week, aside from all their choke games they've had over the past couple of weeks.
Maybe somebody yelled "Roll Tide" in the locker room and woke them up. I don't know.
Maybe something, yeah, right? Bring back the reminiscent from, week 2?
Week 1, yeah.
Despite that win and the utter thrashing they put upon the Demon Deacons, I could not reward them that gratuitously for that victory. I still think they're just, they start out every year being, in my opinion, way overrated, and they choke it out every year. They're like the Dallas Cowboys of college football. It is what it is. Miami, choked again. This is not the first time for them against SMU. In overtime, it was a close game, so they did play them well. I'll give them that. But I brought them down a little bit, reflective of that loss. And speaking, I guess, looking more to the top with Georgia Tech and Virginia, people may have mixed views here. I really struggled over this, and I think you talked about this with certain rankings on the SEC side. This is one of the ones that, honestly, I could give anybody credit if they wanted to flip-flop it and put Virginia at the top over Georgia Tech. They're really, to me, that neck and neck. The deciding factor for me when I looked at the remaining schedule for each team was I felt like Georgia Tech had the more difficult, if you will, or higher rated difficulty remaining, 3-4 weeks of the schedule left this season, especially with that game-ending game against Georgia. Both teams will end their season playing their in-state rivals. Georgia Tech will play the Bulldogs. Virginia will play Virginia Tech. And I just think for Georgia Tech, they have more to gain if they go undefeated than Virginia does if you look at, the greater CFP polling and things of that nature. So that's kind of how I had them ranked for that.
And Georgia Tech has Georgia at home this year. And if people recall what happened in Athens last year,
they almost pulled it off.
They almost pulled it off, and there was a call at the end of that game that hurt them too. Not that I'm bringing that up, because I know if Jay and some of the Auburn fans are still watching this, they don't even want to hear that. And Jay, I actually thought about the power rankings about 30 minutes before the show, and I said, you know what? I should have put Auburn ahead of Arkansas. But I did not do that on purpose, but you are correct. I should have Auburn next to last and not last. So my apologies.
That's pretty much all I've got for ACC. I'm pulling for the Yellow Jackets to win it. They've kind of been a childhood fan team of mine long before I reach the college age. But we'll see how.
Can we bring up the elephant in the room, KJ? Can we please bring up the elephant in the room?
What is the elephant in the room?
Well, again, he's a guy with Alabama ties. Dabo Swinney in the Clemson Tigers.
More like Clemson kittens. I think that's.
Excuse my language, but what the hell happened?
Listen, how did we have the ACC going at the beginning of the year? We thought this is Clemson's to lose.
Yeah.
And Miami and Florida State are going to be right in there.
Yeah.
And the highest those teams are ranked is 7 in the power rankings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Then you had Clemson at number 4 in the preseason, and Dabo Swinney kind of opened his mouth this last weekend. He got $10,000 fine for getting on the refs a little bit. So,
yeah,
what a season that started out with so much hope and just completely went down the crapper.
I mean, they're not even going to make a bowl game.
Yeah, that's true. I think a lot of Big 12 fans petition the fact that in general or overall, we're arguably the better conference because the head-to-head, I think, standings for us bodes in our favor.
I agree.
I will almost say that I think as much as it hurts for, us tried and true fans who watched the past 5+ years, to your point, Brett, and seeing how far Clemson has fallen, I almost think this general parity that you see in the top half of their conference is maybe doing them more good than harm, just in terms of, I personally am not a fan of like the 1-team, 2-team juggernaut of a conference. Like I think parity overall is better. It speaks better to the holistic conference itself as being a powerhouse group. And I think that's why I say all that, that's my context for it, if you will.
Coming from an Alabama fan, I totally disagree. Especially when we're one of those juggernauts. But if we're not, I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say when you're one of those juggernauts, but when you're not, you love the parity. I mean, that's the one thing about the SEC that we've talked about is there's so much more parity in the SEC this year than has been in the past, where the Big Ten is extremely top-heavy.
For sure. Agreed.
And I think that, I don't think there's too many disagreements, kind of across, national sports to podcasts to whatever. I mean, you got 2 or 3 teams in the Big Ten. Then you've got those middle 4, Iowa, USC, Michigan, Washington, and then you got kind of the also-rans after that, Illinois having a disappointing season, where you go, I mean, we talked about it, Brett, you go 7-8 deep in the SEC right now with a lot of games to happen that could change, put 8 up into the top 4, could put 7 into the top 4. I mean, there's a lot.
If you have a gun to my head right now, with Texas A&M, with Alabama, with Georgia, with Ole Miss, and with Texas, Texas only got 1 SEC loss. Keep in mind, I could not tell you which one of those 5 teams is probably going to win the SEC this year.
Right.
I ain't got a clue. I mean, I don't have a clue.
If you remember last year, we had this big conversation. The SEC started chewing each other up. And we got into the discussion of will a 3-loss SEC team get into the playoffs? Well, you've got an abundance of SEC teams sitting there with 2 losses that play each other yet this year. The conversation becomes again, will there be a 3-loss team in the SEC make it into the playoffs? And what kind of reaction is that going to get from college football?
Well, this is what I think happens. Do I think it needs to be considered? Possibly. But when you look at the SEC schedule, what are you talking about? You're talking some teams with 3 games left that are in the top 15 ranked. Some of those teams.
Yep.
When you look at the Big Ten, you're like, well, who does Indiana have left? Who does Oregon have left? They got Iowa. It's very difficult. It's like, if they win that one game, that just isn't the case for the SEC. There's 2 or 3 games that they've got to win the next 3 or 4 to solidify themselves. And I think that speaks more to the depth of the SEC this year. I believe the best team in college right now is in the Big Ten, but I think the depth definitely favors the SEC. And I think that's, which inherently causes them a problem.
And
when it comes to-
does that depth make the SEC teams not appear to be as high caliber as they really are?
It could. It just depends on how they measure it.
Yeah.
It just depends on how they look at it.
If you've got people that are not biased, that have pretty solid football eyes, and we all, since we're football fans, we all think we know everything. But the eye test, me being an SEC guy, I'll keep it 100% like I always do. I feel like Indiana and Ohio State are the two best teams in the country. Of course, I could be wrong, but I've been watching ball for 40 years. Now, I agree completely with Eric. I think from A to Z, from 1 to 16, 1 to 14, SEC's, to me, by far the deepest conference this year.
Right.
But if Indiana and Ohio State continue to play like they've played, good luck beating either one of them. That's going to be I haven't seen two teams that have played like them all season, week in, week out.
Okay.
I bet if we did some retroactive tracking, you'd probably, to your point, Brett, see a lot more of those one possession games like we have seen in the SEC, even from teams between like Texas and Kentucky, ironically enough, versus your matchups from the Big Ten. There's been a lot larger scoring margins, I think, in those games. So.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna bring Chad back on. We're gonna give Ed a quick break. We're gonna do a couple of topics. Then we're gonna bring Ed back for the Oregon-Iowa matchup, but that's gonna be last. So, Ed, we're gonna get to the hot topics in college. The first one, we've been talking about this one forever. It just took a little longer than the other ones that we predicted. Hugh Freeze, the big man in Auburn. Just give you a quick look at Hugh Freeze. If you're not familiar with him, he is gone. Like I think you said, Brett, 25% of the SEC jobs are open. So guys, what do we see happening? I mean, Chad's mentioned it. I think Chad was the first one to bring it up. Where are they going to get these coaches? And since you brought it, Chad, I'll direct to you. Is Lane Kiffin really leaving Ole Miss?
I don't believe he's leaving Ole Miss. I watched an interview with him, and he, in his own admission, in the past was a piss poor father, and he's really straightened out his life personally, and his children gave a whole presentation PowerPoint on how they didn't want to move and how they wanted to stay at Ole Miss. And it didn't want to go anywhere, and it blew him away. And that's why he's been there the last couple of seasons, is because of that commitment to his children. And until they are grown and gone and out of the picture, I think he's an Ole Miss guy, and I don't think he's going anywhere. That's where I'm saying. I could be wrong.
KJ, what are your thoughts? We'll leave the SEC big guy at the end.
My biggest question is really, to your point, to echo, where are they going to get everybody from? Like, as many firings as I've seen this season, it seems very unparalleled to any year past that I've been a fan of college ball. And I personally, though he's, I think, been pretty definitive to say he's not going anywhere. There's plenty of, lower group conference coaches that could be ripe for the picking. Speaking from a Houston bias standpoint, it's like, I'm concerned for fans like myself. Like, is our coach really safe? Is he really going to be here next year? Because of all these vacancies you're seeing in the SEC and the bigger power conferences, it is a little scary. I don't know. We'll see what they shake up with. I'm interested to, I guess, see out of all the openings that exist now, and there may be more before the season, finally comes to a conclusion, if you'll see some guys get picked up from the coordinator roles and not just be, head coaching picks from outside conferences brought into the SEC kind of thing. So
put a bow on it, Brett.
Well, just a second before Brett puts a bow on it, Jay makes a statement in here, said he wins 9 games a year. He's a god at Ole Miss. His ego tells him that 9 games isn't enough.
Yeah.
His ego is, I want to win multiple national championships, and which I don't fault him for that.
Right.
His confidence says 9 games for himself isn't going to be enough. And that's what may eventually drive him away from Ole Miss.
Right.
I'm not sure, but I just thought I'd address that real quick. Go ahead, Brett. Sorry to
What
interrupt.
about Brett?
No, I mean, I couldn't agree with you guys more. And about the whole coaching situation in general. You know, me and my brother go months and months and months without speaking, but when we do, it's about football. And we talked about this at length for probably an hour and a half the other night. And he said the same thing I said. And I know Auburn fans probably don't agree with me. As a Bama fan, I'm glad Auburn got rid of Freeze. I can see the improvement, except at quarterback. It's been the same situation at quarterback since you got there. But the talent level was improved, and they were. I know close is only good in hand grenades and horseshoes, but they were getting there. And I think Auburn maybe made a mistake by running him off, not giving him one more year. And I'm typically not that way. Lane is the definition of a rounder when he was young. I could tell you some stories that I know of, and they're fact about what he did while he was here in Tuscaloosa as an assistant under Saban. And he was absolutely correct. He was not a father. He was not a husband. He was an absolute rounder, living the life of an 18-year-old rich guy is what he was doing, running around town. And he got his family back. His daughter goes to school there. The son's in high school playing quarterback. He got his wife to move back. She's back. And from what I gather, he's always felt very strongly about her no matter what transpired in the middle there. I feel like the only job that Lane would leave for would be the Florida Gators. Lane, he just screams a beach guy. He's got a lot more resources in Gainesville than he does in Oxford. That he might could sell his kids on Gainesville. Damn sure ain't gonna sell them on Auburn. No offense. Ain't gonna sell them on Baton Rouge. Ain't gonna sell them on them Pennsylvania. Ain't gonna sell. I mean, but again, you guys are right. That man keeps winning 9-10, sneaks in 11-win season there for the next 10, 15, 20 years at Ole Miss. He's got a statue outside the stadium, and the stadium's named after him. I'm with you. At what point is Lane going to convince his family to leave to chase that natty? And if he gets to the playoffs this year, will that be the signal to say, hey, you know what? You could probably win this thing here in Oxford. If he can't get to the playoffs in Oxford, I think as soon as the kids graduate, he's gone. And if his family situation wasn't in the current state, he would already be in Gainesville right now. But
Lane is from Florida, right?
He's been in Florida. He's been in California. You know, his daddy was all over his defensive wizard. I can definitely see Lane Kiffin. I said that he reminded me of a guy that was just born to be a Florida Gators head coach. He looks like a Florida Gators head coach. I can see him with the damn visor as we speak, but not yet. Not yet. So I think he's staying.
Yeah, I think he stays too, for at least now. Next quick one. We got to put a quick one on this, but I do have a little information on this. I put this together just for my buddy John David when we get into this. I'm going to put up the college football rankings. As soon as I get them here. Does the AP get it right, or is there a bias? I mean, we could ask the same thing about these college football playoff rankings. You know, if we look at the entirety of the football playoff rankings and we compare them to the AP, you'll see there's teams in the college football playoff rankings that aren't in the AP. I heard him talking about it today. The AP seems to have a bigger bias against the Big Ten than it does the SEC. And it really seems like there's a huge bias toward John David's Notre Dame Irish. In fact, I was just looking at articles across the board, and I saw 6 different articles from 6 different outlets talking about how overrated the Notre Dame Fighting Irish are this year. So I thought to myself, we look at the college football playoff rankings here. They're sitting at 10. Does anybody see where the college football playoff rankings got it wrong, or they got it right compared to some of the bias we see in the AP?
Well,
Ed, you popped on, so you obviously have something to say.
Well, I'm looking at these rankings, and one of the games we're going to be predicting just shows how screwed up it is. You know, they say the home team is worth 3 points, right? So you got number 7 BYU playing number 8 Texas Tech, and they've got Texas Tech is 10.5-point favorites. Now, if Texas Tech is 10.5-point favorites over BYU, then why in the hell do they have Texas Tech behind BYU in their rankings?
Right.
Makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, but yes, but college football playoffs doesn't make the point spread. I mean, that's Vegas making a point spread.
That was true.
Well,
Right.
But before these college rankings came out, though, if you look at the actual AP, it was the same thing. Texas Tech was one spot behind BYU. So whether you're talking the college rankings or whether you're talking just the AP top 25, it was the same way. They definitely have their favorites.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I mean, Vegas comes up with the point spreads, the AP, the college football playoffs. They don't come up with the point spreads. They don't establish that. So do I think the AP and the college football playoff ranking have biases? Absolutely. They're full of humans manipulating this thing. So of course they have biases. Yes. Does Notre Dame deserve to be ranked in here? No. I went to a wedding this last weekend. It was a very long trip, but it was a good trip. But I was amongst a whole bunch of Irish fans, and I was being pestered by one in particular Saturday at the wedding as he's watching the game on his phone about what I thought of Notre Dame and where they should be ranked and how I thought about them last year and should they get in the playoffs last year. And like I told him, and I've said on this show numerous times, I don't like Notre Dame. However, when Notre Dame is good at football, it's good for college football.
Right.
All the big programs. When Alabama is good at football, it's good for college football. When
USC.
Vanderbilt, when Vanderbilt is good at football, it's just kind of fun. It's not necessarily, it gives people a little bit to talk about, but it doesn't influence the ratings. It doesn't really bring anybody to the TV. But when those power teams are good at football, when USC is good at football, it's good for football. You don't have to like it, but the problem comes in when they're not good at football or they're mediocre and the powers that be are pumping them up to try and convince everybody that they are. And that's where you have a problem.
That's what I'm getting to, Chad. So I put this up here just for, whoops, wrong one. That's a different one. Where the heck I got it down here. Hell, I don't know where I have it. Oh, there it is. Look at the wrong one. That's the one I'm looking for right there. So I took a look at the schedule. Sorry, Chad, you're behind it. I took a look at the schedule. And here's what I found out, because I thought, other than just bashing John David's team, I'm going to actually dig into it. So that's why I looked at all of the, some of the articles and things that I read and whatever, just trying to see if I was just being a John David basher. And here's what I found out. Notre Dame's teams that they have beaten this year have a combined record of 22-31. Their losses, 14-2. So what? Just looking at those records, what does that tell us? They beat who they should, and they're losing to the top tier teams that the college football playoff and the AP want to make them appear, like Chad was saying.
Well, they went toe to. I'll give them this. They went toe to toe with Texas A&M this year, which they beat them last year at Texas A&M, and yes, they did lose to them at home this year. So I don't. There's no moral, victories or whatever, but they went toe to toe with A&M for 58 minutes.
Right, but so so it would be nice to know as a football fan, is there a category of who did they go toe to toe with? I doubt very seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, but this team did go toe to toe with this other really good team.
Well, do you feel like, though, if A&M would have beat them 42-3, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation, because I would imagine they would be further on down, don't you?
See, no, I disagree with that. See, the thing of it is, I think Chad is right. There are certain teams, and Notre Dame certainly falls into that category. There are certain teams that they are going to give passes to.
Yep, they're the brand. They are the Northern Alabama. They are the brand.
And
absolutely.
So even if their two losses, if they ended up 10-2 and their two losses were against the same two teams they lost to at the beginning of the season, and they were at the end of the season, guess what? They'll find a way to keep Notre Dame up there. I mean, KJ, we're Big 12 guys. I mean, I'm a college football guy, but I mean, my team is in the Big 12.
Acknowledging the bias.
You watch somebody like, since we're talking about Notre Dame, Notre Dame gets a loss. How many spots do they drop them?
1, 2 tops, if that.
Yeah, or maybe 3, 4 at most. They got another loss at the beginning of the year. How far do they drop them?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, you take Arizona State last year. Had they lost a game, how far does Arizona State drop?
Right. The penalty is always higher. Yeah.
The penalty is always higher for those teams that aren't a brand. So my question is, as college football fans, you always have the fans of those teams saying, "Oh, bull crap, they're awesome," and I get that. Right. That's fine. You're a fan, but if you take a step back and you look at it, you should at least be able to acknowledge the fact that there are biases. And great, you're a fan of a team that enjoys those biases,
right?
But you can't discount the people that are just looking at college football for college football's sake and not recognize that those things actually exist.
I think Chad made a very strong point of this early in the season when we kind of started things off and touching on the fact, and, to your point, for people that can take off their rose-colored glasses for a second, I think they can acknowledge this. In the past 5 to 10 years, there's never been a question so much with Notre Dame's strength of schedule, because they've done a very good job of scheduling all these, they don't have a conference affiliation, but they've been very diligent and intentional about their opponents and their scheduling. I think this year is showing that starting to slip in terms of the team selection they've been able to, schedule and set up, what have you. And so you're seeing in general a weaker schedule this year. And it's, I think, frustrating for some of us on the outside looking in, just thinking, if they could just acknowledge that. We're not disputing the notoriety of Notre Dame. Yes, it is a brand thing and all that, but there's a reason too that the brand is what it is, because they have had the dominance in difficult schedules in years past. This one, if you put it side by side with the past 3-4 years, you should be able to clearly acknowledge there's a difference in the level of difficulty you're looking at. From
three other examples of the bias is Clemson, Florida State, and Florida this year.
Right.
So look how long it took them to all drop out of the top 25. As bad as they have been, and they should have been out after a couple of weeks. The AP should have looked at it and said, well, you know what? The season hasn't started. They hadn't played any games. They're really bad. Let's just get them out of the top 25 altogether. Nope.
Kept them in that.
Well, Eric, put the college rankings back up there again.
Okay.
And the reason why I say it is like I said last year, and nobody can make me I still understand how they determine who the 12 teams are, because if you go by these playoff rankings, you would think that they would say, okay, first team in, boom. Second team in, boom.
That's what we
Get
noticed
down
from
to
last
number
year.
12, you go to 13 and 14. Those 13 and 14 would be the first two teams out.
Yeah.
So that every week they come in and say, okay, these top 12 teams are in the playoffs and they're the best teams. But that ain't the way they do it. They're ranking this, but they don't have the top 12 teams in the playoffs.
Last year's a perfect case study for that. And I guarantee I'd be willing to your point, Ed, put money on it this year. They'll do the same thing. 1 out of 12 team will make it in to the final rankings for the actual CFP playoff who weren't ranked in the top 12,
So these rankings mean nothing. If they're not going to use the top 12
Agreed.
teams, then their rankings mean nothing.
Yep.
That's true.
Because don't you have the projected?
Yeah,
playoff?
so this is the projected playoff as of right now. This is
you
the
got
projected
Virginia in
playoff.
there. You got
Oklahoma. Yeah.
Yeah, what are they doing in there?
Well, but here's the deal. You have to have the ACC champion, which right now they're projecting as Virginia. You got the Power 5 or the outside the Power 4 team is Memphis. They would be the 12 seed.
Well, if you're going to have
specifically this year,
I said this last year. There's no point in doing that. Then they're clearly this is where I'm going back to 4 or 6 teams should be in this thing because then it's a joke. It's the college basketball playoffs. This is a joke if that's what they're going to do, and it's not real. That's why I keep going back to this. And I'm going to beat this drum forever. Is because they put teams in the playoffs that don't belong there, like it's the college football or college basketball playoffs, which are stupid. It's stupid.
I mean,
put teams in there that don't deserve to be in there.
So in the playoff rankings, if you're doing the playoff rankings right, Memphis should be 12, Virginia number 11. But when you look at the rankings, is Memphis even in the top 25?
No.
They don't deserve to be in the top 25.
How are they doing in the college playoffs?
Because they have that.
You can say whatever you want about the smaller conferences. If they can't hang with the big boys and they're not ranked in the top 12 of the teams that are supposedly the 12 best teams in the nation, they should not be in the playoffs, period. If you want to crown them as conference champions and put them in the Wheat Bowl on January 1st, that's fine. But if they are not one of the 12, they do not belong in the playoffs.
Can you imagine if Memphis, if this sticks, if this holds, could you imagine Memphis going to Athens, Georgia?
No.
And what would happen to them? You want to talk about beating their ass like a Cherokee drum.
If you thought TCU was bad, this will be a doubling of that beatdown.
Yeah, but at least TCU earned that by beating Michigan. Just being put in there as Memphis.
Yeah, right.
Jay says to me, it's a guaranteed spot. Well, yeah, it's a guaranteed
It shouldn't be like that, though.
I looked this up online earlier today. It's not even worded that way in the determination.
If it's a guaranteed spot that you don't deserve, it's like Chad says. It makes the whole playoff ridiculous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who wants to watch a 50-0 blowout because some team is guaranteed a spot in the top 12?
Well, realistically, I mean, we all know that the spot should go to the Power 4. I mean, it should. There shouldn't be a Power 5.
Unless there's that one team that comes around every few years that just,
unless a Boise State
is not one of those teams.
Unless they've got a Boise State or somebody like that ranked in the top 10.
The power 3 1/4.
Oh, yeah, you're still on that as a Nebraska fan. Anyway, we're moving on now. Since I have that power to do that. We got to talk about the big game as we're getting way behind, and that is Oregon and Iowa. Okay, Oregon Ducks and Iowa play this Saturday. Ed's got everything going there. He's getting the palms all greased up here. This is obviously
that's what Iowa fans do. They grease the palm.
Yeah. And like I told Ed, I said what would be a total Iowa move would be this. Iowa could beat Oregon this weekend, and then they will go turn around and lose to a USC. Like that would be a total Iowa move. But realistically, I'll set the stage and I'll turn it over to Ed because this is his team. But it's not going to be a real great day in Iowa City. It's going to be cold. I mean, we have a chance of snow. I mean, it's going to be brutal conditions for Oregon to come into Iowa City and play this football game. So, Ed, I know you've got a lot of stuff put together here. Tell us why Iowa can win this football game.
So what do we know about Iowa's defense? They're ranked number 2 in the nation behind Ohio State. They've got Phil Parker as their defensive coordinator, which I don't know how much money they've thrown at him to stay, but they need to keep throwing even more money at him because Iowa's defense at home is legit. They were tied with Indiana 13-13. Going down the fourth quarter, Iowa was in field goal range, missed the field goal, and Indiana escaped that game. But you've got Iowa, who's predominantly a rushing team. When they average more than 3.5 yards a carry, they're 6-0. When they average less than 3.5 yards a carry, they're 0-2. So the Ducks come in with the 4th best rushing defense. They're only allowing 3.3 yards per carry. So what's going to give? But you've got an Iowa team now that with their bye week last week, they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. So if they're not ready for Oregon and they can't beat Oregon at home with the way they play defense at home, well, then they don't deserve nothing. So I'll listen to Chad next week, bash the hell out of Iowa. If they don't win, but the Stars, if they are ever going to align weather, defense, you name it, if the Stars are ever going to align for Iowa to pull the upset over Oregon, it's this weekend. And if it doesn't happen, I'm going to be pretty disappointed.
Yeah, it is going to be ugly. For those of you who don't live in the Midwest, this is just a preamble to the frozen hellscape that it will be here in another month and a half. The weather is you've got to lean on the weather. You've got to lean on the cold, the wind, the possible precipitation, whether that's rain or the snow. And the rain might actually be better because, at 32 degrees, rain is much more miserable than snow, for those of you who don't know.
It is.
And they have to lean not just on the weather, but Iowa's innate ability to drag every good team that they face down to their gutter football level. They just play ugly.
It is going to be an ugly defensive,
just terrible football. And then they let nothing teams play, and they look like superstars against them. So they have to heavily depend on those two things: the weather and their ability. Yeah, their defensive coordinator. I mean, if people had connections to the Vatican City, they could make this dude a saint or something, because it's going to be ugly. Oregon, or if Oregon gets pulled down to their level, they're not going to win that game. Iowa will win it.
The weather report.
I've got the game day forecast, Eric.
The game day forecast is a high of 46, low of 25. You got it there?
Yep.
There is a 90% chance of precipitation.
2:30 kickoff.
2:30 kickoff. So it'll be 45 by then, or thereabouts.
It'll plummet quickly.
And it'll plummet quickly, especially if the rain's falling. And that rain is going to be a cold, cold rain. So definitely, as far as the stars aligning for Iowa, it's exactly what kind of game they want for Oregon coming to town.
It's going to be an ugly game. It's going to be a defensive struggle. But if the weather's going to be iffy, again, the stars aligning. Iowa's a rushing team. And if it's going to be crappy weather, would you rather be a running team or a passing team? So, I mean, if Oregon gets out of this game with a win, they will have earned it. So
There's no doubt about that.
I will tip my hat if Oregon comes in and takes care of business.
There is no doubt about that. Okay, we got to get to our picks. It's already 9:15. We got the whole NFL to go. All right, first game. BYU, number 7, 8-0 at number 8, Texas Tech, 8-1. Texas Tech is a 10.5-point favorite at home. I thought we only picked the big ones, Ed. Your first time back.
That's how bad the games are this week.
Right.
What do you call Texas Tech?
The tortilla throwers, right, KJ?
UFB University, is that what you mean? Sorry.
Give me the tortilla throwers. I'm not sure what this means. Sounds a little racist, but let's go with it.
KJ?
I don't know about you, Chad, but I'd rather have a tortilla thrown at me than a cup of pee. So
Yeah, right.
Yeah, better than the piss throwers, right?
That's right.
KJ, you need BYU to win this game. Are you taking BYU?
no, I will acknowledge Texas Tech prowess, and people with half a clear eyesight will be able to acknowledge BYU, though they are undefeated, have had favorable scheduling so far this year versus teams like Tech who've actually had more ranked opponents. So I think for Tech's benefit, I'd say the Red Raiders definitely have the nod, and it shows in the point spread. So
Yeah, I'm taking Tech as well. Ed?
Yeah, I'll take Texas Tech, even though they're supposedly not as good a team as BYU. Vegas sure seems to think that they are, so I'll take Texas Tech.
Everybody in the audience is taking Tech.
Yeah, what about you, Brett?
To go off what Ed said, but BYU's a totally different team at home. Totally. Always has been. Always. And Texas Tech, that's a nasty fan base, a nasty road environment. They throw more than tortillas at your butt, from what I gather. Texas Tech, I mean, they could probably 2-3 touchdowns. It's that 3-point thing that might have been correct 30, 40, 50 years ago. I do not believe that whatsoever now. But you're right, Ed. That's what they say is 3 points, whether you're at home or on the road or whatever.
We got a clean sweep on the comment board. Jay, Marty,
Everyone.
Henry, John, DJ, I'll take Texas Tech.
All right. The next game, number 9, Oregon, 7-1, 6.5-point favorites at number 20, Iowa, 6-2. The 2:30 game on Saturday. As much as I think Oregon is going to win this game with the weather and everything like that, I'm pulling for the Hawkeyes just to mix it up a little bit. I'm gonna take Iowa. It's gonna be an ugly game. I think 18 points wins this game. Ed?
Yeah, like I said, if there's no way I can not take Iowa in this one, because if you were ever an Iowa fan or liked Iowa at all, there is never going to be a more favorable position. I mean, Phil Parker's had 2 weeks to plan his defense against Oregon. He's had 2 weeks to get his defense healthy. I mean, if there was ever a time that Oregon goes down, it's this week. So I'm taking Iowa as well.
Brett?
Taking Iowa 17-14 with the upset.
Chad?
Wow, look at the crowd here. Oregon.
Oh, wow.
John David's going with Iowa. This is tough. I mean, I want Iowa to lose. That makes me want to pick Iowa.
I have never met
The man lives in Iowa, by the way.
Have you ever met a guy more screwed up, KJ? His
No.
prediction ability.
Chad gives a new definition to the term midlife crisis. I'll tell you that.
That's because I'm well past midlife. That's why.
Who you got, Chad?
I might not be as old as Eric,
He's beating
but
the dead
I'm up
horse.
there.
You go.
Yeah. I can't do it. Give me the Ducks. Give me the Ducks. I can't do it.
AJ?
Yeah, y'all converted me to the gospel with all the weather talk. My football purist heart's too much in love with that, so I'm definitely rooting for the Hawkeyes.
All right. The next game. Number 3, Texas A&M, 8-0, 6.5-point favorites at number 22, Missouri. Brett, who you got?
Too big, too strong, too fast. Give me the Aggies.
Chad?
Yeah, give me Texas A&M. What do they say? Gig 'em?
Gig 'em.
Ed?
Yeah, you look at Missouri and what could have been this season. They had Alabama on the
Ed's number one
ropes.
team.
They had Alabama on the ropes. They had Vandy on the ropes in overtime and let that go. They lose their starting quarterback, and they got a freshman coming in, didn't do too bad, but at home with a backup freshman quarterback in Texas A&M, it's too much. A&M will win.
Are you going to be okay, Ed? Do you need to take a break here for a minute?
You got to admit, though, Mizzou, when they lost their quarterback this last week, their true freshman came in and played pretty damn good.
I know. You
KJ?
were wearing your Mizzou jammies, too. I know. But.
Yeah, I'm on the gig 'em train too, man. Spending time with the Predator couple this off season, watching college ball. The old boys from College Station have warmed my heart, and I used to be a very avid Aggie hater, but I find myself saying gig 'em more often than not through the course of this season. So
Well, that was a clean sweep on the board as well. Next game, Florida State 4-4. This is a great one. At Clemson, 3-5.
The what the hell happened bowl.
Clemson
What the hell happened?
Yeah.
This is the fight for bowl eligibility.
Yeah, Clemson's a 2.5-point favorite. Ed, who you got?
or the game not to get freaking.
Yeah, we're
fired.
like, which one of these teams is going to get the 6 wins? And I think old Dabo is probably pissed off. He lost 10 grand for bitching out the refs, so he probably bitched at his players instead all week. So I think Clemson will pull it out this week.
KJ?
Yeah, I looked at this one, man. The margin in my eyes is super close. I think just due to the win component of who they've played, I have to give the nod to Clemson and the fact they're coming off a loss. Like Ed said, I think they'll be more hungry for a win, if you will.
Chad?
You know, I think this flaming, burning train chugging down the tracks is not going to stop now. Dabo's disaster season is going to just be – this is going to be the cataclysmic loss that just does everything. And give me the Knowles.
Brett?
Oh, shit. Clemson won.
It makes me feel better about my pick now, saying I'm just going with the home team. Like, I don't even know how to pick this dumpster fire.
I don't either.
That was the other stat I looked at a minute ago when y'all were talking. I forgot about it. So Florida State, this is how close it is. Clemson has won 1 game at home all season. 1 measly football game. Florida State hasn't won a single game on the road, so the margin of difference is like a fingernail.
So you're saying the over-under is 1, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next game. LSU 5-3 at number 4 Alabama 7-1. Here's another.
We could probably do a rapid fire on this one and say,
yeah, I'm taking Alabama. Ed,
Alabama.
Brett,
LSU by pity.
you're taking Alabama.
Give me Alabama.
I was like, whoa. KJ,
Yep. Elephants all the way.
Chad,
Give me the Give me Bama. Yeah,
Better
I got
check the
this.
comment line real quick. We had
The
Clemson.
Tigers.
Big Mike took Florida State. Otherwise, everybody was Clemson. And I'm not going to put up Jay's comment for you, Brett, but it looks like
Wow. Hey, Brent, I don't want to hear squat again about me giving you crap about your team. This man is ruthless, okay?
yeah.
Hey, if I was Alabama's bitch 365 24/7, I would be ruthless too.
Looks like everybody at Big Mike's got an LSU upset. Big Mike's got the LSU upset. Okay, last game. Here's another. Man, Ed. Woo.
Oh,
Florida 3-5 is a 3.5-point favorite at Kentucky.
Well, he's been touting Kentucky the last 2 weeks in his SEC rankings about how much respect they deserve. So here we go, the battle of 3 and 5 teams.
All right, Brett, let's see how much respect you're going to give them. Let's roll.
Do I have to pick first? Hell if I know. Look, Kentucky I'm trying to sell myself on this pick. They took Texas to overtime. They almost won another game. They did beat Auburn, Jay's fantastic team. By the way, Jay, is there still a freeze warning in Auburn? It's a little warm up here in Tuscaloosa. I don't know. Give me the Gators. Give me the Gators by 3. The Final Four is going to be 6-3 either way. I'll give you that.
I have Florida as well. Chad?
give me the Wildcats.
KJ?
Yeah, I think to Brett's point, I got to give these guys some credit. I think the players are probably hungry for a win, and I think there's more of a rain cloud hanging over the Gators locker room with the firing of their coach and what have you. So I'm definitely going with the Cats on this one.
Ed?
I'm going Florida.
I think it was a clean sweep on the board with Florida. No, Marty had Kentucky.
What's the over and under on this game? 12? I mean,
The over under, I got it right here. Hold on.
yeah. What is it?
Over under is
12 and a half.
43 and a half.
Ain't no way in hell.
I'll take the under.
I'll give everybody a freebie this weekend. Take the under in this game.
The under. All right.
But Chad, what do you think of Brett's freebie? That sounds a little. That sounds like that could be a little sketchy there.
Brett's freebie?
Yeah.
Is the freebie a handy? I don't know. What's the freebie? We got Ed lubing his hands up, and you're giving out freebies.
Listen, no more.
When did this? You know, this podcast was pretty straight and narrow till Ed came back.
Yeah.
$5 now to Brett's OnlyFans will show his A tramp stamp on his back.
Listen, I got to get back control of this. This has gone off the tracks. This is a Clemson dumpster fire right here.
This went off the tracks an hour ago.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Right after this discussion, we need to have a word from our sponsor, right?
Yeah. Well, we're going to say goodbye to KJ. KJ's taking off, so it's going to be the four of us taking you home. So we will see you right after this message. Man, just a quick little break there. We have gone so far over our college segment, a good segment, but we have gone so far over. So I'm going to wave the magic wand. I'm going to make Chad, you disappear. See ya. And I'm going to bring up my NFL power rankings. When Ed gets back into full gear, these will be Ed's NFL power rankings. A few changes from last week. You lose games, you drop, you win games, you move up. But there's a lot of places in this segment. I mean, you could have, Detroit, like I was telling Ed before, you could have Detroit anywhere from 1 to 4. You could have Philadelphia anywhere from, I would say 1 to 6.
Eric, I'm only going to interrupt you once.
Yeah, right.
But I'm going to bring Chad in here because looking at your rankings, I just have a feeling he might have a few comments. So we're gonna include him in this. So go ahead.
Anyway, I got Detroit at 1, LA at 2. I think Detroit is still the team to beat in the NFC, and I think the Super Bowl champion is coming out of the NFC this year. To me, I trust them more. LA, they're older. Stafford, I get it. He's got them rolling, but I don't know if I trust them as much. Indianapolis, I mean, even you said it, Ed, you don't trust Indianapolis maybe as much, but, I think they've earned the 3 spot. Buffalo in 4, as Chad has said many times, when they're together past 5 years, they're not going to win the Super Bowl together, head coach and quarterback. Baker Mayfield, Tampa Bay, if they were to lose, they're probably going to drop more than anybody else simply because they are banged up quite a bit. Philadelphia, to me, the biggest weakness in Philadelphia, correct me if I'm wrong, is you got to make Jalen Hurts throw the football. Their record is substantially better when he throws the football 25 times or less. When he throws more than that, Philadelphia's record dips substantially. Seattle, Seattle had a great game the other night against the Commanders, but a lot of people have been having good games against the Commanders. I love the Sam Darnold story. I should bring on the Sam Darnold. I got a nice little Sam Darnold thing for Ed that I made up simply because I'll just throw it up there real quick. Last year we had to look at Sam Darnold in the Minnesota, God,
I think he looked better in the loincloth than what
now this is Sam Darnold to Seattle fans. I think that he's starting to make believers out of all of them, but Seattle's in 7. Watch out for the Patriots. Vrabel has them playing. Drake May looks really good. I could see them ascending. Broncos are a shaky top 10 team because I just don't think they can keep winning like they're winning. I mean, Bo Nix does not look the same as he did last year, and they are just getting by the skin of their teeth. But in the NFL, a win is a win. Pittsburgh, probably another shaky team simply because, their defense is the highest paid defense in the NFL, but, man, they're just not consistent. Now, they played great this week. Are they going to show up next week? Green Bay, I mean, if you look at Green Bay, I know the national media, they want Green Bay to be the team so bad they can taste it. But Green Bay's 2 losses. Carolina, which is better than we thought they were going to be this year, and the Browns. And they tied the Cowboys, who just got boat raced at home by the Arizona Cardinals. So I'm not sold on Green Bay. I know they're young, and I know they're going to have down games and stuff like that, but seriously, I'm not sold on them. San Francisco, could they be higher? Possibly. But I don't know when those injuries are going to stop. They just lost Williams on the D-line for the year. I think he blew his knee out. Brett, I think you and I were talking about that. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
So there's another guy that's gone. Ayuk, who knows when he's coming back. Brock Purdy. I mean, they just got a lot of injury issues that are still lingering. The Chargers, it is kind of is what it is. They're up and down. I think they lost another offensive lineman. Yeah, they lost another offensive lineman, but they did draft one, so we'll see how that works. And as I said last week, when I got some flack that Kansas City was too low in the 8th spot, and I said the reason that I had them in the 8th spot is because the teams that they have beaten, and I listed them off, Geno Smith and the Raiders, all those teams, now they play Buffalo and they get beat. And I get it. You can say, well, Buffalo always beats in the regular season, But if they were back, like everybody in the national media was saying they were back, they're back, ladies and gentlemen, that's a game that they should have won. That's my belief. Baltimore in the 15th hole, they're in must-win mode. It is, but they're in must-win mode.
That's an AP bias ranking right there.
It's not really it's not really biased because they're getting healthy. Their defense is getting back to full strength. Lamar Jackson is back. I feel like they're gonna string some wins together. I know Ed hopes they don't because they play Minnesota this week. But that's where I have them. And then the Bears in 16th, and then you can go back and forth with a lot of these teams. You could put them higher, you could put them lower. I understand that, but
so we could draw the line and say the rest. Who cares?
No.
Let's talk about the top 16 and where you're wrong.
Yeah, go ahead.
Chad, I'll let you go first, and then Brett, you can go after him.
Well, I don't have an issue with the first three. Obviously, everybody knows I'm going to have an issue with number 4, simply because I see this as who's the best. So when weeks ago doing the Big Ten rankings, everybody and their mother had Ohio State ranked over Indiana, and I said Indiana's the best team. I don't care. They didn't lose. I don't care. You can't get leapfrog, yada, yada, yada. I put Indiana, ranked them number 1 because I think they're the better team and they're going to finish better at the end of the season. Is Buffalo a good team? Yes. Are they going to get up a bunch of wins? Yes. Are they going to go to the playoffs? Yes. They're not going to win the Super Bowl. And in my eyes, you're ranking these teams, who's going to win the Super Bowl? And they're not winning the fucking Super Bowl. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry, everybody. Who is it? Jay, are you the Buffalo fan? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They're not going to win the Super Bowl. They're not. The other teams may. I mean, who knows with the Indiana Jones? This is magical. I don't know what's going on there. Nobody can define what's happening in Indianapolis. But the Chargers need to be lower because I've had way too many injuries. They're not coming back from this. Baltimore is an S show. They're terrible. The Broncos, who knows? The thing that should make the Buffalo fans and all the AFC East fans was you had a 5-year break, and now it's over. New England's back. What are you going to do now? They're just going to start winning the AFC East all over again. I'm not going to crush you. I get why you rank Buffalo there. It's not what I would do, but what does that mean? Who am I? I'm an idiot. So who knows?
Hey, you're Brett.
But I think Philadelphia's got an infinitely better chance of winning the Super Bowl than Buffalo does. I think Tampa has a better chance of winning the Super Bowl than Buffalo does. New England, Seattle, no, not Seattle, because we know what Sam Darnold's going to do in the big picture games. So that's my 2 cents. What do you guys got to say?
Go ahead, Brett. Knock it out of the park.
I don't know how in the hell you've got Detroit number 1.
Why? Tell me what
they're not a road team, number 1.
Well, tell me what Detroit's weakness is. Tell me their glaring weakness.
They don't have a glaring weakness. I'll give you that.
Okay. All right. And again, I said I could understand where you have Detroit. You could have Detroit all the way from 1 to 4. That's fine. I feel like Detroit is up there because I can't see their glaring weakness.
Detroit missed their window. Their window was the last 2 seasons, and they let both seasons get away.
This is probably their last year or 2 of the window, yeah.
That could be. Yeah, like I said, these aren't Super Bowl rankings, as Chad referred to. These are just power rankings from week to week.
You know what sticks out to me? 2 things stick out to me with the power rankings after sitting here and analyzing everything is how weak and down the AFC is, 1. And 2, look at how many really, really bad teams there are this year. I mean, go through those last 10, 12, 14 teams. Can you imagine what the draft is going to be like this upcoming spring? You want to talk about some willing and some dealing and some trading, and even Jerry said, "Look, I know my days are numbered running this team," and he said he's going to try to do. I mean, ain't no telling what that man's going to do between now and the draft. But look at these teams, guys. I mean, dang, you've got 8, 10, 12 teams that are just really bad. Some of them's injury related. I felt like the Giants were maybe headed in the right direction. Washington, it's been the super sophomore slump with Daniels. Now he's out for the year. Dallas, look, I think Dallas is fine on the offensive side of the ball. I really do. But all the draft picks that Jerry's got next year, he better spend them on the defensive side of the ball. If he really wants to be a legitimate contender.
Jaden Daniels is week to week. There was no structural damage to his elbow.
Really?
Torn. Nope. It's just he could conceivably play this week.
He's RG3 2.0 though. He's never going to stay on the field. It's going to always be something.
He hadn't put on to. What did I say when I said, look, I want my Bears to take him, but that's if they put 25, 30 pounds of muscle on him. That kid's the same size he was at LSU. It was a blessing that the Bears didn't take him. I was wrong. I mean, God, Cleveland is Cleveland. There's no D in Cincinnati. I mean, none. It made our quarterback look like damn Mahomes or Joe Montana. The Jets, total overhaul again. Let's stack up these picks and screw that up again and pick the wrong guys again. Carolina, I got to give Bryce Young credit for just having heart. How in the world have they won 4 or 5 games? There's just, I'm not bashing the NFL because I love football and I watch every game from everywhere I can. But when you look at this, there's just a lot of teams that's got a lot of issues, a lot of problems, a lot of issues, more than what I can remember in recent history.
My thoughts would be, I would have the number 1 and 2 spot between the Rams and the Eagles. I think those are the two. When you look at weaknesses, sure, Philadelphia went through a lull where they weren't playing very good football. But when you talk about the weapons, they have the weapons they need to beat any team that they play. Tampa Bay being at number 5, they have a good defense, and they have a good quarterback, but they just can't keep their wide receivers on the field. So they're always going to be hurting to put points on the board. When it's all said and done, I think New England Patriots are going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC just because you look at their schedule that they got remaining. So I'm surprised the Patriots aren't a little bit higher up the scale. The Colts definitely helped themselves with bringing in Sauce, but you want to hear about a scenario that I have nightmares about. Can you only imagine the crap that the Minnesota Vikings would get, not even being in the playoffs, which they probably won't be, but can you imagine how much they would be talked about on Super Bowl week if you had a Super Bowl of the Indianapolis Colts versus the Seattle Seahawks? You had Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl that were both on Minnesota's roster before the season started.
Well, I mean, like I've said, Ed, there's your boy Darnold.
Yeah.
And here's your boy Daniel Jones.
I would tell you.
I defend Minnesota when it comes to Daniel Jones.
I agree.
No one saw this coming. Nobody had any reason to see this coming unless they were letting him do things in practice and he was lighting it up in practice on the scout team. And they were just like, nah. Otherwise, there's no way you're going to expect that. Indianapolis didn't expect that. I mean, he's only on a 1-year deal. So It's not like they were like, oh, here, let's give you this 4-year deal, and we'll give you $25 million a year, and we're going to go to the Super Bowl. No, they had no idea. Signed a 1-year deal.
But the thing about Sam Darnold and Jones is this. Reclamation projects. How many quarterbacks in the past have we all called busts? And we've all said, man, he wasn't what we thought he was going to be, or he wasn't this, or he wasn't that. That never got a chance, like a Daniel Jones, like a Sam Darnold, to prove that they could be that guy if they got into the right fit. I mean, the list would all, I mean, we have no way of knowing, but I mean, the list could be huge. I mean, you look at reclamation projects just in the top 10. You've got Jones at Indy, you got Baker Mayfield at Tampa Bay, and you got Sam Darnold in Seattle. Now, 7 years ago or 5 years ago, however far you want to go back, if I'd have said, listen, I bet you guys $1 million that those 3 quarterbacks are going to be leading their team to the playoffs in 5 years, you guys would have looked at me and said, hey, you been drinking? And I would have said, I'm probably drunk. But yet,
we would have found a local rehab to take you in.
Right?
Well,
right?
Mac Jones has made himself a bunch of money this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in his bank account right now, but it'll be there, in July.
Yep.
He's made himself a bunch of money this year.
Yep. There's another one.
I mean, he's going to go someplace and be a starter. Hopefully he picks the right organization to go to.
Right.
That's gonna keep him where he's at. I mean, who would have thought Seattle was at for Sam Darnold? But maybe Sam Darnold's just so good it doesn't matter where you put him now.
Well,
I say that a little bit jokingly, but not. I mean,
I'm gonna tell you what though, fellas, Seattle, we can mock them just because Sam Darnold's their quarterback. Their team looks damn good.
well,
They are another team.
JSN is just chewing everybody up.
Well, I look at the fact, Minnesota doesn't have the draft capital to move up to get one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the draft coming up. But if you look at a home for Mac Jones, if J.J. McCarthy doesn't work out, don't think Minnesota wouldn't go after Mac Jones.
But Mac Jones is going to want to be a starter. He's going to want to be a starter.
If J.J. McCarthy doesn't work out, he would be the starter in Minnesota.
What I'm saying is you're only going to give him a year? You're only giving J.J. McCarthy a year?
Well, we're going to talk about him a little bit later. So
we've got to move on. Otherwise, we're going to get so far behind. This is going to be an 8-hour show.
Holy smokes.
Media's love affair.
I keep it real.
Yeah.
I'm not a homer that comes on here and defends my players religiously. I keep it real. So
media's love affair.
You defended Sam Darnold religiously last year. So.
Until he choked, and then he was off the board.
Yeah.
Media's love affair with the Packers.
I'll start this off because I am the one who put that up there as a hot topic. I am so tired of Monday morning talk shows, Tuesday morning talk shows, Wednesday morning talk shows, one right after the other, when they always put the thing up on the screen. Who is the favorite to be in the Super Bowl? And when they say the NFC, it's always the Packers. They never give the Packers. You look at Packers, they have 2 horrible home losses with the Cleveland Browns and the Carolina Panthers. You can say whatever you want about the Carolina Panthers. That was a bad home loss for them. So what do they say on the talk shows this week with Get Up and First Things First and everything? Oh, the Green Bay Packers are still probably one of the top 2 favorite Super Bowl teams. They were just caught in an in-between game.
Trap game.
It was a trap game because they played the Pittsburgh Steelers the week before, and it was a really tough game. And they've got a big game coming up with Philadelphia, and the Carolina was just a trap game, so they were able to give them the benefit of the doubt. So they've got 2 bad home losses. Cleveland and Carolina that they just skate over, and they still talk about Jordan Love is 27 years old, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, they were all 27.
Bart
They're gonna
Starr.
win the Super- I mean, it just never ends. It's just ridiculous.
Okay,
Well,
okay.
go ahead, Chad.
Okay. I'll try and be brief since I've rambled on a bunch in this segment. So, one, the bad losses. These are the losses to have. They're not tiebreakers. They mean nothing. They aren't going to lose any tiebreakers to those two teams. So those were teams to lose. If you're going to have a bad game and lose, you don't want to have a bad game and lose against the Lions or against any of the other, against the Rams. Those are the games you don't want to lose.
But it can cost you home field advantage. It's going to cost you the Rams coming into Lambeau Field in the end of January.
Maybe. And then I've talked about this before. So, Brett, you might not be familiar with us. The other three of us are old enough to remember, because Eric is close to the oldest person here, that coming out of the 70s, the big boom for the NFL, there were three national teams. There were the Cowboys, the Steelers, and the Raiders. They were the winningest teams in the 70s.
Right.
They were what the 70s were all about. And that's when the NFL exploded and started to become and grow into what we have now. Now, they clearly lost the Raiders. And they knew they'd lost the Raiders in the early 90s. And they started trying to replace the Raiders by forcing Brett Favre and Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers down everybody's throats. And it kept going with Aaron Rodgers, and it kept going now with Jordan Love. They are trying to force feed and make them the third national team. The problem is that's got to happen organically. You can't force something like that to happen. And it happened to a certain extent. I was in Virginia this weekend, and I'm wearing a Bears shirt, and this snot-nosed kid that was eating lunch with us was a freaking Packers fan. I'm like, what are you doing out here and being a Packers fan? You make no sense to me whatsoever. I don't know.
Hey, so they're basically like we talked about, the Notre Dame of the NFL.
You're right. I mean, that's just
I
what
mean,
it is.
Yeah.
And the thing that irritates me is when they talk about X team, whatever, they get very like, well, they're weak here. They didn't do this. Was a terrible look here. But when they talk about Green Bay, it's like, well, I could see where Jordan Love thought he saw this, or, they're young and they're,
Jordan Love gets more passes than any quarterback.
Yeah, it's a total pass. And that's the thing that irritates me a little bit is like, I agree with Chad. Let it happen organically. If Green Bay's the team, then it's going to happen. You don't have to force it, but it just gets to the point where you're just like, ugh.
Okay. Ding, ding. Right. Next topic.
All right. Which one did we have? We were going with this one. What does the injury mean to Daniels and the Commanders? And why was he in the game at this point? It was 38-7. And
yeah, but it's easy to be armchair quarterback.
I understand
all these shows again on Monday. Oh, Rex Ryan, all those guys. What are you doing? What are you doing? But then, you have teams that come back in the fourth quarter like Denver did, and they score 3 touchdowns or whatever in the final 5 minutes.
This is a 31-point game, though.
Yeah, but you have all these guys that said, how much money do these guys make? Are they professionals? If they're players, they need to be on. I mean, it doesn't matter what side of the scale you're on. You're going to have certain people in the media that are going to always take the opposite view. They always want to be the smartest guy in the room and be the armchair quarterback that always knows 100% what the right thing to do was. And it's just, he got hurt doing what he does. That could have happened in the first quarter. So,
yeah.
But Brett, go ahead, Chad. You go first.
Well, I was just going to say that we'll see if they learn if they change their strategy on this in any way, because I have a feeling they're going to get smoked in some more games, and what are they going to do? But like I said, reports are today, all the scans, everything of his elbow, no structural damage, no broken bones, no torn ligaments, none of that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. They dodged a bullet. He's week to week, and in fact, they haven't ruled out the fact that he may play this week. So I just wanted to re-say that. So Brett, you go ahead.
Well, I think, Brett, it goes to what you and I talked about, and this is why I'm not armchair quarterbacking it as Ed was saying, but what I'm getting at is you and I have talked about this at length. He's not your quintessential bigger quarterback. He's breakable. And this year, last year, I mean, he was money. You know, everything was going great, and he was everything. This year, 2 stints now, you know, where injuries have happened. Don't you say to yourself, as you've mentioned, yeah, he's a professional, as I was saying, I agree with everything Ed said, but we're not talking about Josh Allen. We're talking about Jaden Daniels.
I mean, yeah, like you said, there's when you're on this level, and you know, you've got media, you've got fans, you've got everybody's going to second guess every move you make. If he wasn't in, why ain't he in? There's 7 minutes left. You can come back, but then he gets hurt. And why was he in? You're down 31 points. So I'm not going to get into all that because my goodness, Stephen A. Smith, the idiot that he is, gets paid $20-30 million a year, and his takes are freaking horrible.
Yeah.
One thing that I've noticed that Daniels has really regressed, and I don't know if it's because he's been out injured a couple times, but he missed open receivers the other night, all night, and instantly within that 1.5 seconds, he wasn't going through progressions. He was doing it. He put that head down and was trying to find somewhere to run, and the whole time when they were showing picks downfield, there were guys running open, but he done made his mind up that he was going to run. And that was what concerned me, is that he was not continuing to scan the field like he was last year. He's gotten to a really bad habit. And to me, he's absolutely regressed. So Washington's got a lot of problems moving forward, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, their fourth and fifth string wide receivers are now their starters. So that's a problem, too.
Yeah, I mean,
but open receivers are open receivers.
I'm with you there, but
faith or trust in those guys, probably.
Well, there's no doubt about that. It was either that or just the fact that he's all of a sudden can't read a defense and can't find open people. Because what was it? Someone had mentioned the other night. Oh, well, there's nobody open. I'm like, the last 4 replays you showed, there was a guy open here, a guy breaking open here, and he was taking off running when he didn't even have to. Right. And I mean, hey, I'm a Daniels fan, but he did not look good the other night at all.
Okay, Ed, here you go. JJ McCarthy plays well. Is he the answer for your Minnesota Vikings? You have the floor.
Well, the question becomes, can he be an effective quarterback? And the big difference with Minnesota this last game is they got healthy on defense. I mean, you had Van Ginkel back, you had Greenard in, you had Cashman playing, you had Wilson playing. And when those guys are in there, they wreak havoc. You look at in the Detroit game, what was there, 5 sacks? And they were on him big time. And you look at Harrison Smith. Harrison Smith has never been a big cover guy. So when the defensive line and the linebackers aren't putting that heat on the quarterback, like, Flores is always talking about, all this blitz packages and everything, when they're not getting pressure on the quarterback, Harrison Smith can't cover guys, but he's a hitter. So this last game, he had a couple hits that was like decleaters, and it's like, that's Harrison Smith being Harrison Smith because the quarterback is unloading the ball before he's ready to unload the ball. So Harrison Smith doesn't have to cover these guys 4, 5, and 6 seconds. But so let's talk about that. If you have a good defense, do you need J.J. McCarthy? You always talk about J.J. McCarthy only throws 15, 16 passes a game when he was with Michigan, whatever. Well, how many teams that had successful defenses didn't need that all-star quarterback? Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl. You got Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. Jeff Hostetler won a Super Bowl. They were just good at being generals and running their offense. Hell, you even had Rex Grossman make it to the frickin' Super Bowl, and you guys can't tell me he was a good quarterback. So all you got to do is have somebody that can effectively run the offense and has a defense that is respectable and can stay healthy. J.J. McCarthy, just like he did in Michigan, is capable, and we will see because he's not there yet, no doubt about it. He still has the capability of running an offense that can be successful.
Minnesota.
Can he stay healthy?
Well, yeah, the healthy part is one of it. But the other thing is, if Minnesota will try to win football games the Michigan way, then I think McCarthy will be fine. They have to be able to rush the football, and he has to make 2 or 3 throws a game. 2 or 3 important throws a game, that's it.
I think we'll all agree he doesn't lack confidence, does he?
No,
he don't.
No, he has the confidence. But if Minnesota can turn these games into winning like Michigan, running the football, playing good defense, and getting him to throw 2 or 3 good balls a game, which he did this past week, I think he'll be okay.
The guy is in high school, college.
That doesn't mean
the guy is 63-3.
It doesn't matter.
But the reason that is relevant is he's used to winning. He knows what winning looks like. He's got the confidence that he's got built up. And jury's out on whether that'll translate to the NFL. But as we've all seen, the guy has the confidence right now that you're going, man, this dude almost looks possessed. And I don't know why, when he's only played 3 games in 2 seasons, why he should have this level of confidence. But as you look at the team is 100% behind him.
Well, they have to be because he's their guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I say something?
Yeah.
Your problem with playing the Michigan way is you have Justin Jefferson on the team.
Right.
Is he going to be okay, Ed, with playing the Michigan way with 6 catches for 47 yards?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 1 touchdown he had to make a one-handed outstanding catch to get that touchdown. You got to give JJ credit, Jefferson, the fact that he may end up being a diva receiver just like the rest of them. They can't keep his mouth shut. But so far, he's played the role, and you don't hear anything from him. But I'm sure it's just a matter of time if the Vikings don't have success. Because if you look at it, what is JJ in his 3rd or 4th year? They've totally wasted the best years that –
Yep.
I mean, they're totally wasting the very prime of his career. They're wasting. So,
Brett, anything?
Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think JJ's very smart. He's definitely a game manager. He was coached by one of the best with Harbaugh. This is probably a really good scenario for him because Minnesota does have a really good D coordinator. And like Ed said, when they're healthy, they're pretty tough to deal with. But put it this way, you put JJ in Chicago with our defense, it probably wouldn't be good. He reminds me kind of a Jalen Hurts. You don't want him throwing more than 25 times a game.
Right.
And it's his rookie. It's really his rookie season.
Yeah.
Everybody, you know, I want to tease you, Ed, but I mean, everybody needs to calm down. The kid hasn't started 17 full games yet. I mean, people just need to settle down.
You ought to see the chat lines. I'm belong to a bunch of Minnesota Viking pages, different pages.
You strike me as that guy.
The back and forth on JJ McCarthy is just relentless. And being the second season, like you said, he's really in his rookie season. But everybody already wants to make their judgment on him whether he's going to pan out or not. Who knows?
It's like everybody last year. Oh, Caleb Williams is this massive bust. He's this huge bust. Now this year, everybody's going, oh, well, maybe not. Maybe not. Well, you know, you got to give these guys some starts. They're not. I mean, look at C.J. Stroud. Look at Jaden Daniels. I mean, they're all going to struggle. They're all young. Not everybody comes in is a world beater from their rookie year on. Peyton Manning threw 28 picks.
Right.
Troy Aikman.
Yeah, Troy Aikman. You're right, Chad, but the problem is Minnesota.
They're built to win now.
They're built to win now. That's a huge difference. Chicago was not.
I don't care. I don't care because Minnesota entered this situation knowing they were built to win now and chose to go with the rookie quarterback.
True. So it's on them. There's no question.
So they did this. So if their fans are upset, then they need to be upset with management and not with the kid.
Right. I agree with you there. But they are built to win now. You know.
That is a fact. Next.
Yep. Yeah. We got to go through these quick. These are going to be.
These got to be like big time quick hitters here.
Yep.
Okay.
Brett, I'm going to give you this one. Nobody else is going to comment. Is Murray done in Arizona?
Brissett looked good, and he's getting the start again this week. Look, he's 5 foot nothing. He's injury prone because he's 5 foot nothing. I mean, I like the kid. He's entertaining to watch, but he might be done altogether starting in the NFL.
And what's interesting today, mysteriously, Murray was put on IR.
Yeah.
Funny
to save him. All right, I'm going to give – this is just going to be a quick fire. So if you don't have nothing, you have nothing, but I'm putting you on the spot. Chad, here you go.
Yes. Yes, I am. They're built for the playoffs. They get into the playoffs. Everybody hold your hat and wait.
Just get to the playoffs. That's all Kansas City's about.
Playoffs.
That's it. Just get to the playoffs. Ed?
We'll find out. The Broncos got to play Kansas City twice yet. So I would suggest if the Broncos are going to be serious contenders for even the division or the playoffs, they got to start figuring out how to play the first 3 quarters of a football game. So can they sustain it? Yes, but they're kind of looking like maybe the Vikings of last year, because the Vikings had how many one-score games last year? When it come right down to it where it mattered, they got their socks blown off. So proof is in the pudding, but I would say, can the Broncos sustain it? Most likely not. I think the Chiefs will take the division.
I'm going to take this one because I put it up there, even though we have 2 other Bears fans. But have the Bears found a new identity? I think they have, from the standpoint of course, Chad, Brad, all put their hands. I mean, come on, dude.
What's their identity?
I'm waiting to hear the identity.
Win and give up 40 points a game, or what?
Listen to me. You guys laugh. Okay. What have the Bears always been known for, Brett?
Don't anger me over this. It used to be defense.
Oh, defense, right? It was defense, and whatever the offense did, just score 15 to 20 points, and we'll figure it out. Okay. Now Ben Johnson is there. Is Ben Johnson going to turn this around where if they can even get the defense manageable, which is god-awful right now?
That's the problem with the offensive head coach, though.
It is.
Thank you, Ed. Thank
It
you,
is,
Ed.
but is the idea going forward? Is the Bears' identity going to be more offense? We're as Bears fans, we're so used to defense. It's like
Yeah, it
we're gonna play
doesn't
good
matter though. If
It
their
does
identity
matter.
is going to be offense, if they're going to have dog shit defense, they ain't ever going anywhere.
But what I'm saying is, if they can get the defense even remotely competitive,
But you can't do that when you draft Loveland tight end as your first round pick.
but we've all talked about that one. We beat that to death. But I think the reason the Bears did not make the move, even though they kicked the tires on Crosby, they kicked the tires on Hendrickson, is because I think this draft will give us our answer. If they come out and draft a bunch of offensive guys, then we know it's going to be nothing.
You got your new Richard Dent this week in a trade, didn't you?
No, we didn't.
No,
we didn't. You know, we didn't dig too much on you, Ed. Now you're just digging. But
well,
if they
I
come out
against 3, so I got to hold my ground, man.
Yeah, but if
You
they
don't
come
know
out,
how many weeks I had to sit back and listen to you guys and try not to get stressed.
you could have turned it off, bud.
The surgeon told me I got to start speaking my mind and not let things stress me out. So I had to quit listening to the show a couple weeks.
Yeah. But if they draft defense this year, that will give us our answer. That he understands how important the defense is.
They better damn well draft defense.
But if they don't, there's going to be 3 guys on this show losing our minds that night.
We will have to go out and find new sponsors.
Yeah.
I tell you what, when we do the draft live next year,
it's
going to be something because Jets got like 15 picks in the first 2 rounds.
In the first 2 rounds.
But I can see when Chicago's pick comes up, I'm going to be sitting back and just waiting for them to take like a slot receiver or something with their first round pick and watching Chad lose his.
No, a tight end. They'll take a tight end.
Yeah, we only have a dozen. We need a baker's dozen.
Yeah. Here's the current NFC standings as it is. Hey guys, if Green Bay chokes with Philly this week and the Bears win, we could be in an era that we haven't seen for a long time. I mean, again, I'm not.
And if you've seen our schedule, it's not going to last long with the shit defense we got.
I get it. I understand. But that's the NFC as it stacks up after week 9. AFC after week 9 with Denver, Indy, New England, and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh and Indy have the biggest leads there. And here's the current playoff picture. I mean, realistically, other than the AFC, I don't see the playoff picture changing much. The seeds may change, but the NFC to me looks like that's how it's going to be. The AFC, do the Chargers hang in there? Does Jacksonville hang in there? Can the Broncos sustain it and hang in? I don't know. I think the AFC is way more wide open than the NFC is. I think there's a substantial cutoff. Would I love to see Green Bay out of there? Yeah. But I think the top, 2 spots in the NFC North are going to make it. And I think Green Bay is probably going to be one of those. Anyway, quick draft notes. If you missed it, Cowboys picked up Quinion Williams. Brett, 2 first rounders and a player on top of it.
Picks.
I mean, the Jets are going to be loaded with first-round picks.
Well,
I'm very familiar with Quentin, and that dude is a big old teddy bear. He is a fantastic kid. Not to mention he's got 3 Pro Bowls playing with one of the shittiest franchises that God ever created. And, dude, he's a bull, and he's still got some fuel left. That was a hell of a get by Jerry. Of course, they need their defense is about on the level of the Bears, so he still needs another 4 or 5 guys to fill that defense.
This is a good pickup,
step in the right direction.
Yeah.
so Eric, but while we're on Dallas, let me put this next one up, and just to comment on it real quick. That isn't the one. This one is. Okay, I'm Jerry Jones, and I'm thinking I want to make a splash because, he can't stay out of the new. He's got to always be front and center. So he goes, I got to make my defense better. Okay, where do I go? Okay, I know. Let's look at the Cincinnati Bengals, who gave up 80 points over the last 2 weeks. I'm going to pick one of their linebackers who, for the last 2 years, had over 100 tackles for the last 2 years. But this year, he's gotten less playing time because they have a younger linebacker that they like better than him now. So, what in the hell?
Yeah.
What made
What'd they give up for him?
I think it was a fifth rounder.
Fifth rounder, I think.
But
Okay.
still, I mean, the fact that you go to Cincinnati first to look for defensive help, tell Joe you need to know about that.
Yeah. Rashid Rice going to the Seahawks gives them some depth at wide receiver. He is a speedster. Another target for Sam Darnold to throw to. Big move by the Colts. Sauce Gardner is going to be in Indianapolis. I think that's a big move, and here we go. More picks to the Jets. This one was the 2 first rounders, not the Quinion Williams. 2 first rounders for a corner. I mean, he's a good corner. Don't get me wrong, but that seems a little steep. But I don't think the Indianapolis Colts owner is messing around.
He's all in.
She's in.
She is definitely in. Jacoby Myers, I think this was a trade target that was going to happen. Going to the Jaguars, given some depth to the Jaguars receiving core. I mean, let's face it, the Raiders are the Raiders. Probably a good move for him. This was the offensive lineman that the Chargers picked up to try to get some depth because they just been killed across that offensive line. And then the huge move by Chicago, trading for Joe Tryon Shoyinka to try to shore up the defensive front. I mean, I guess we'll see. I didn't expect him to make many moves unless it was a big one.
Yeah, right there, baby.
Yeah,
Right
but
That's
Bill White Dent runs plays like Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't he? This is his third team in like 3 years.
Yeah, it is what it is. So, anyway, let's get to
you didn't happen to load in what the Jets draft picks look like for the next
I did not, no. But I do know they got 1 first rounder from Dallas.
They're crazy.
The Jets are going to be able to determine who they want for a quarterback out of the top 3 in the next year's draft because there ain't nobody that can compete with them for draft pick stock.
No.
Well, they're rumored as a potential landing spot in the offseason for Kyler.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That would be such a mistake.
Hold a place for some rookie.
That could be. That's possible. And I think the quarterback class is better the following year than it is next year. I mean, you have Mendoza, but he needs some more games.
Next year has been a massive disappointment. They thought there were going to be a lot of quarterbacks come out, but they've all been huge. Very disappointing.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's get to the pick'ems. We are way over, and I blame Ed. This show's ran like clockwork. Ed comes back, and here it is, 10-17, and we haven't got to the pick, so it's definitely his fault.
I think it was the UFL update.
I think it was too. First game, Baltimore 3-5, 4.5 point favorites at Minnesota, 4-4, noon game. Ed, are you taking Minnesota, or are you going?
I got to, but with Lamar Jackson being back, if Minnesota's got all their defensive stars power still playing and they can keep Lamar in the pocket, they got a shot. But if they don't have the discipline, and it could get ugly. But Minnesota hasn't been the home team that they've been in the past. So I probably should take Baltimore, but I'm going to take Minnesota.
Chad?
I'm gonna climb on your longboat here and pick up a horn, and because I think Minnesota's going to win this game.
Wow. Brett?
what does KJ say?
KJ, I'll pick it up here. KJ has Baltimore. Dang. Thought I was going to be the only Baltimore guy, but I'm taking Baltimore. Let's see. Looks like Baltimore is a clean sweep on the comment line. Next game, New England 7-2 at Tampa Bay 6-2. Tampa Bay is a 2.5-point favorite. I am taking New England. New England is rolling, and New England's got a lot to play for. Tampa Bay's banged up, so give me the Pats. Ed?
I just, Tampa Bay 6-2, but I just don't know how they are because their wide receiving core is just decimated. So every week you're trying to figure out who in the hell he's going to throw the ball to. I think this week that New England comes in and shows why, this is one of the last remaining tough games New England has on their schedule. I think New England's looking at a number 1 seed in the AFC. So this is one of their last true tests. I think New England goes in and takes it.
Brett?
I'm gonna go with the Bucks at home. I'm a big Vrabel fan, and New England does look good. I think they're still a year away from being a serious contender. It's just a hunch. I'm going with the Bucks at home.
Chad?
New England doesn't usually do too well this time of year when they have to go to the state of Florida. However, give me the artist formerly known as the Boston Patriots.
It is a clean sweep for the Patriots on the comment line. Next game, Jacksonville 5.
Wait a minute, what KJ say?
Oh, KJ has the Bucks. So Brett, KJ will be happy to know him and Brett are with the Bucks. That usually is the kiss of death, but
Poor KJ.
the next game, Jacksonville 5-3 at Houston 3-5. Somehow, some way, Houston is a 1.5-point favorite.
Whenever they play at home, they automatically make them the favorite. They were even the favorite against the 49ers.
Yeah.
And you figure that out.
Brett, who you got?
Can Houston score 14 points? What's the over and under on this damn thing?
I'm not sure.
Jacksonville by a field goal.
Let's see. Jacksonville and Houston. You know what the over-under is? 37.5.
Oh,
For NFL, that is big-time low.
That's low.
In the mid-40s, but 37.5, this is going to be a stinker game to watch.
Chad?
Yeah, give me the Jags.
I am also taking the Jags. Who you got, Ed?
I got Jags too, and like Jay says in the comment line, Stroud took a hell of a hit last
Yeah,
week.
he did.
He went out with a concussion. Who knows whether he's going to be able to play or not? So,
Wait, who did KJ take? Did he take his
KJ
Houston?
took the Texans.
of course.
Yeah. Next game, Rams 6-2, 4.5-point favorites at San Francisco 6-3. I'm taking the Rams. I just think, they're the healthier, better team right now. So that's why I'm going with the Rams. Ed?
Is Nakua playing?
I'm not
He
sure.
played last week, so I would assume.
I'm assuming.
I'm assuming he is. I think the LA Rams are starting to hit their stride. They're favorites on their road favorite. They're playing in San Francisco and they're still 4.5-point favorites. San Francisco's been fighting the injury bug all season long. I think it's about time for separation to start happening. That division's been between Seattle, the Rams, and the 49ers. They've pretty much been in a log jam, but I think it's getting about that time of year where the Rams are going to start making some room. So I'm going to go with the Rams in this one.
KJ took the Niners. Who you got, Chad?
So just so you know, Puka is questionable with his ribs. The tests all were negative. He'll be limited in practice, but he should be able to play. Give me the La Rams.
The La Rams. Brett?
La Rams.
Rams. San Francisco's just so beat up.
Looks to me like everybody in the comment line is
Except for
Rams.
Jay.
Except for Jay.
Jay's going with the Niners.
Next game, Pittsburgh 5-3 at the LA Superchargers, 6-3. The Chargers are 2.5-point favorites. KJ is going with the Chargers. Ed?
Oh man, when the Minnesota went to LA and played the Chargers, they just got dog stuff. I mean, it was ugly, and I don't know what it is about Harbaugh, but I just like him as a head coach. Pittsburgh, their defense scares me. I'm still not sold that Aaron Rodgers is the answer. I think the Chargers take care of home field and come away with a win.
I'm taking the Chargers because last week, if it wasn't for 6 turnovers, Pittsburgh wins the game 27-20 over Indianapolis. Indianapolis turned the ball over 6 times. Aaron Rodgers only attempted 2 passes beyond 10 yards. 2 passes.
And if I
beyond 10
told
yards.
you at the beginning of the season the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to have DK Metcalf, what kind of season would you anticipate with Aaron Rodgers that he would have had?
Yeah.
He is basically non-existent in their offense.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, who you got, Chad?
Give me the San Diego Superchargers.
Brett?
Man, you know I'm a old school defensive guy, and Pittsburgh finally, I've been making fun of them all season. Finally, their defense showed up last week. Give me the Steelers in an upset.
Ooh. Looks like it's a Chargers sweep on the comment line, so we're all safe. Brett's on an island with Pittsburgh. The Monday night game. Philadelphia 6-2 at the 5-2-1 Green Bay Packers. Green Bay is a 2.5-point favorite on Monday night.
Unfreaking believable.
I cannot physically take Green Bay in a pick game like this. I'm going with Philadelphia. KJ is taking Green Bay. Brett?
I mean, it's the team I hate the most against the fan base I hate the most. Do I have to pick one? Can they both look? Well, they can end in a tie. Can I predict a tie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me Philadelphia.
Do I gotta get the Jeopardy music out or what?
Chad? Do you really think that after Green Bay loses to Cleveland at home and then they lose at Carolina at home, that Philly isn't going to come into Lambeau Field and dog stomp them? I think Green Bay is going to get exposed that they are one of the most overrated teams in the NFC. I think Philadelphia is going to lay one on them.
All right, Ed's going Philly, Chad. Now you go.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
I was going to say, you can't physically take Green Bay either. No.
Yeah, I can. I can pick them. I just don't. I just think Philly's one of the best teams in the league.
Well, I think Philly can do a lot for themselves as far as upping their cred. If, let's say Jalen Hurts comes in and has to throw 30, 32 times, they win the game. Or they get Saquon Barkley going, which, to your point, Chad, or Ed, I can't remember who said it. You know, they beat him like a rented mule last year.
Yep.
And then you come back in year 2 and he just doesn't quite have it for whatever reason. They just have not been able to get him going this year, except for against the Giants. Apparently he was super motivated, whatever. But
what did everybody in the comment section pick on this game?
Comment section looks like Philadelphia. So KJ is out on a limb. So everybody that picked with Brett, we all should be nervous.
Green Bay by 50.
That's going to do it. In Ed's return, we are over our average by 12 minutes. So I don't know, guys. You know, Ed always gets after us, but I kind of blame him.
Well, I tell you what, we sure appreciate all our viewers that stuck with us, because evidently our NFL segment must have done pretty well, because we still got a lot of people watching us, so we really appreciate that.
And let's not forget in our pick'ems, who's still on top, baby? Who's still on top? Me right here, baby.
Which is odd because you're naturally a bottom.
He's always the small spoon.
That's the easy way out.
Who had a 3-8 week? Well, I gotta wait for that to scroll by there. Who had a 3-8?
Oh, I went 6-5 last week.
Yeah. Who had
a little belt to ass? How do y'all like that?
I had a difficult week of physical therapy. I wasn't thinking.
A lot of
yeah. Here we go. Okay, yeah, we're making excuses now. 3-8. You could have threw darts and had a better score than that.
But I'm glad to be back with all you guys. It was too long. I know that.
Well,
missed you, big guy.
Yeah, it makes it a lot better. But make sure, I know we say this every time, you know, go to YouTube, Facebook, and X. Give us a like, give us a follow. I know we've said this
Share it.
Share it.
Share it.
You know, get it out there. We enjoy doing it. We hope you
share it with a friend. Share it with your mom. Say, hey, Mom, you know, have you caught the Bottom Line podcast? They got some really good, fun guys.
These guys
they give each other a tease a little bit. They're good. They have some insight. Mostly they appear as if they're high, but you know, it's a good time, Mom.
Jeez. Anyway, with that, we will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Peace out.
And that's the bottom line.